Friends, how are you doing? Hope everyone is well. Early morning getting this market going here. I think at this point, we're just waiting for the band-aid to be ripped into the $15 position. It is coming, more than likely. And this is just, this is the love of believing in a good opportunity. It really is. So for SoFi people that are investing in this company, you've been here. Who knows how long you've been here? Maybe you've been here a few months. Maybe you've been here a whole year. Maybe you've been here since last summer where things really started to get popping for SoFi and you were like, this is amazing. And maybe you've been here since the dark ages of the $7-10 days where we were there forever, watching SoFi just continue just to rack in good quarterlies and really build up the company to what it is today. This isn't a conversation on Palantir or SoFi is like a bad company. This isn't that conversation. I keep saying Palantir. Palantir's on my mind. SoFi is a place of where SoFi is definitely being ran very good. There's a lot of great elements to SoFi, 100%. And when you really dig into what SoFi is, there's different sectors that there's going to be a point in time where we're already seeing the baby footprints of this. But when SoFi can get in this place where it's like, it's almost like, what's that movie called? The End Games with the Thanos hand with all the rocks, when they all come together here, it's going to be very strong for SoFi. And a lot of that has to do with where the banking sector is going digitally, where crypto is going. Crypto is a big thing for SoFi. I don't know how many people, because when I talk about SoFi, I feel like it immediately blacks out a whole side of people listening, and that's totally fine. You don't have to be educated in SoFi. You don't have to be educated in I guess I should say in SoFi's crypto pathway, but you don't have to be educated in crypto. You just need to know that SoFi is doing a lot of work on the crypto space because they know it's going to work. They know it's going to stick around. It's going to continue to be a situation where little by little crypto makes its pathway to where it's finally used. And this thing too, I mean, obviously when you talk about crypto and the bigger space for it to survive and where it can go with robotics, with, all the places where we think it might find a useful activity for day-to-day use, compounding, for holders, and that's the whole thing with the Clarity Act right now. It's like, trying to fight this act of people that hold crypto that they can get, compounding interest on it, and the banks are like, no way, Jose, because that's our deal. The banks make billions and hundreds of billions of dollars a year off of that kind of stuff. But anyway, like I said, some people are like, well, I get it. It's totally fine. But what you need to know with what SoFi is doing with building up this platform of executing, getting ahead of the game, especially in front of a lot of these other fatter banks right now that really aren't focusing on crypto, SoFi is. And there's going to be a day where they've got it. They've got it together, and they're going to be making tons of money off of that. Even more, a lot more than what they're doing right now. So you've got the situation, these three elements of SoFi when you break it down and look at it. You've got this place of crypto they're really building into, obviously fintech, they're a digital bank, and that's a big selling point for them. They are a digital bank where, you download the app, boom, in your hand, and they're really pushing into the younger generation. And two, SoFi, probably if you're watching TV or YouTube, I see it all the time. I notice it because I'm obsessed with SoFi, but commercials, I'm seeing a lot more commercials of SoFi, and they're good commercials too. They're not bad. So you're seeing that where there's just a lot more of SoFi's becoming this more of a, I would say, I don't know, maybe not household name, but, just a, like, oh yeah, I've seen this bank out there. Maybe 1 out of 10 people walking down the street may know who SoFi is. But within 5 years, maybe those numbers can bump up to like 4 out of 6 people may know who SoFi is, as they expand and broaden, their tentacles out into, just the neighborhoods here. And the third element of SoFi, when I look at it, it is very much intertwined and built into software of what they have. SoFi really is this place of they spend a lot of money on the tech aspect of where they are with, with digital banking, crypto. And this is a big thing that is always going to help them and push them more into this place of, staying ahead of the game here. Like I said, I'm very much in this belief that SoFi is doing the right thing, that the fundamentals of the bank are right, that they are running this thing to tip-top shape here, and we're going to continue to see great quarterlies, compounding quarterlies. We're going to continue to see places of where SoFi is building onto the platform more, where they're doing more with debt consolidation, and that's a big topic of what you're seeing right now. When I do see commercials, that's a big thing. And why is it a big thing right now? Debt consolidation. That's what SoFi is talking about, like a lot about right now. It's a big deal right now because it's a good selling point for SoFi, because everyone has debt, everyone has credit card debt, things are expensive right now, people don't have pocket change anymore, debt is a issue. And this is too where the muddy waters accusations came out here and completely said SoFi's lying to people, they're holding debt, how they use the debt over investors' heads. And then obviously, I think at this point, the muddy water stuff has kind of just been, hit away, dust in the wind, and no one's really paying attention to it right now. Now, obviously, with that too, SoFi, more than likely, and it could be by this week, we will see $15. We are but nickels and dimes away, from $15, okay? So, this is a place of where I'm still actively buying SoFi because I do believe hear me out. This is what I'm about to say here. I know this is going to be a place of where people may be disgusted with what I'm about to say. They may be like, "Oh, I'm totally in agreement. I'm thinking the same thing." But I get that. And with investors, what's the main thing with investors? We never agree on anything. And this is why I love talking to investors, because I will be that old man sitting in a Biscuitville, just drinking my coffee and eating my biscuit, talking about stocks, because I love talking about innovation in the market, stocks, how the market's working, and just looking at the outside world and how it affects the market and how the market affects it. So with that, I'm going to go into this conversation of, think about it this way. What do we know about this year with the puzzle pieces we have so far with this year, just in the banking sector of the stock market, and SoFi being in this such delicate situation right now where SoFi, the company, everything we know and we've been told publicly, it's running like a well-oiled machine. It's doing great. The problem is where the market is meeting right now, especially with bank stocks, SoFi is just getting dragged through the mud. No one's wanting to buy bank stocks. No one's trusting the market. And right now, what's being put out there with the administration at hand, the market's not buying it, and that's where this conversation kind of goes, is that right now we're in this 5-day ultimatum with Trump, where Trump said, Iran, hey, you got 5 days. If we don't come to a deal, your power plants, we're going to start dropping some things on them here. Okay, supposedly Trump said, and then Trump came out and said, hey, we're talking to Iran. Iran said, we're not talking. What's he talking about? So whether, T-Pain, what he's saying about that, obviously there was that stuff for Monday morning, futures, oil, all that. But two, this could be a play too, where Iran is not wanting to publicly let it be known that they're talking to the United States either, because obviously they've got some other friendships that they may, I'm sure there's a lot, they're getting a lot of phone calls. But with that too, this is a place where if we do go into this next phase this weekend, next week could be even harder for the market, because if we do start dropping more of these big old bombs, it's going to just reignite this fear into the market. It's not going to be like, oh, it's almost over. No, it's just going to be more of what's going on here. So the market more than likely will go into another week with crude oil potentially going back up, the market going down, and we go into this next phase of, oh my God, here we go again. So SoFi definitely could fall into this $15 position. Now, here's the other playbook in this right now, and this is kind of where I'm looking at the puzzle pieces going into the rest of the year. Okay, what are the next plays we know in the market here? The Iran stuff, the situation, the poly market's got this wrapping up somewhere around May and June. more than likely, that's probably what's going to happen here. And I don't know that. There's many different ways this can end. Will it end? Will it actually end this year? That's a really good conversation. What does it even look like for this to end? I think the main thing the market's looking at right now, it's not so much the Iran stuff as much as it is the oil situation with the Strait of Hormuz. That is the real problem, because now the whole world is looking at this like, hey, we got to get this cleaned up here. So with that, we have that issue. If that issue can be sealed up, we go into the next phase, this puzzle piece that we know is coming up here. That's the Fed situation in May. Jerome Powell's out, Kevin's coming in. By June, we're going to be hearing a lot of different elements of what Trump and Kevin are wanting to do. Okay, that's an interesting situation there. Maybe by that point, the market, the Iran stuff has been cleaned up, the Strait of Hormuz is cleaned up, oil, crude oil way down, under $100 a barrel. Easily. We start to see gas prices start to shoot back down in a low $3 range, $2 range, just in normal day-to-day cities. And then with that, what's the next big event we got going on this year? Anybody? It's midterms. It's midterm elections. Now, this is where the conversation comes up, and this is where people, us as investors, may be in disagreement, okay? But what I personally think we're going to see here happen, and all this it leads to somewhere, I promise you, and this is why SoFi at this $15, maybe $14 position, however long this mess continues, this is why these are key price points to snag as much as you can. And I get it. You've been buying it. I get it. So with this right now, we got midterms coming up here in November. If I had to be a betting person on this, if someone said like, hey, are you willing to bet, which bet are you willing to take, that we're going to that getting closer to midterms, we're going to see gas at crazy prices, we're going to see the stock market at all-time low, compared to where we've been here, where we don't want it. Are we going to be in this place of inflation's through the roof? Do you think those three elements are going to be happening? If I had to guess, I would say no, if I had to bet. What I would bet on is that 2 to 3 months from this midterm, that gas prices are going to be dramatically down because they're going to push it. I would highly bet that there will be at least one rate cut that's already happened, if not two, and more promised. Another thing is, I would highly suspect that the stock market will be at highs again, that the S&P 500 will be at somewhere at 68 to well over 7,000 point range. And I would expect that things are going great because it will be drowning out of what we're dealing with right now, and people will be happy. So this is not me trying to play anybody's side of the fence for like the guy, not like the guy. What I'm saying is the reality in the ruthlessness of the stock market, of how things can change like that. So buying SoFi, buying a lot of these bank stocks, and there's a lot of good, and I hate just to talk about SoFi, but staying on the subject of SoFi because it's such a good deal. There's a lot of great opportunities in this market right now, but SoFi, there's a lot of meat left on the bone because it's so young for what's coming. You have to really think about just a measly 2 to 5 years from now, what SoFi could be a part of and look like with everything. Okay. If I had to guess what's going to happen here in the next 6 months, I would say it's the second option, that gas will be down, the Strait of Hormuz fixed up, Iran, something's going on there, but it'll calm down, gas down, market up, inflation somewhat under control. I would imagine they're going to push rate cuts. I think it's very obvious what's going to happen here. So what I'm saying in that, why am I saying that? I'm saying that this opportunity of buying right now, this may just be a patch. This may just be a patch of time where we're like, oh, it's over. Oh, God. Oh, God. Like, oh, God, SoFi's back up to $17, $18, $19. Can you imagine at this point SoFi just going back to $19? Do you know what it's going to feel like for SoFi to go to $19 from $14 to $15 at this point? It is going to feel like a golden ticket to Willy Wonka land. It's going to feel amazing because, imagine that. Imagine people that are just consolidating, buying the dip. And SoFi, the thing is that we already know people are willing to buy SoFi at 18, 19, 20, 25, 30, 31, $32. We already know people are willing to pay those prices for SoFi. They'll pay them again. The thing is, I would rather pay $15, $14 for SoFi than pay 20, 25. I'm going to be honest, more than not, because of this time lapse that has happened here with SoFi being such in this aggressive sell point right now, I personally have been able to accumulate not only this new position of SoFi, but I've been here since the $5, $6, $7, $10 days back, like I said, in the medieval times here, it felt like. But now with SoFi bringing this another position, this opportunity, this sell-off, I go, I'm gonna start this new position in it too, because I do believe in SoFi. I believe in the company. I believe that where the banking sector is going. I believe that what SoFi is selling right now in this digital world of the future with banking, I mean, I'm willing to even say this, that I think within the next 5 to especially 10 years, a decade from now, physical currency is going to be like, we don't take that. We don't take physical money here. We don't take nickels, dimes, pennies. We don't take paper cash. Like, we don't do that. It's all going to be credit cards. It's all going to be through your watch, through your phone, through whatever thing we don't even know about right now. Your Claude, whatever it is, your thumbprint, your eyes, who knows? There's all kinds of things they're pushing out there right now, but SoFi is very aware of that. And this is why SoFi has always been in this place of innovation with where the banking sector is going. To me, I look at SoFi as the dark horse of what's coming in the market. I look at it as the sleeping giant, because the other fatter banks, they're not pushing into this. Now, they have money, and that's the thing that's, separates them from SoFi, where SoFi is building on this right now with limited funds. Yes, they have money, but they're not like a Wells Fargo with they can borrow money, they can take money, they've got money where they can just spend money on technology and advancement at faster paces. But SoFi being ahead of this right now, they're figuring out where this is going and being part of it. So it's very interesting. Friends, listen, I wish Avi the best of luck. We're going to see what happens here with this deal that T-Pain has put in place here. I don't know. We'll see if it gets cleaned up. Hopefully it does. Listen, I think all of us are ready for this to get cleaned up and just get this over with. And let's get this market back in order. But if I had to, like I said, if I had to bet here, I would say that the second phase of what I think is going to happen, that's going to happen. However they do it, I don't know, but I think it will be pushed and put in that place. Friends, take care of yourself, and I will talk to you soon. Bye, everyone.